than our local cable subscribers.
Get started. So this is the Wednesday, May 20th, 2026 meeting of the Easthampton Energy Advisory Committee. Jamie Bucket, the chair, joined by members Alex Barron and Connie Dawson, also joined by Sustainability Coordinator Sophie Persano. We will, be getting through a bunch of stuff here, starting with potential review and approval of the minutes from the last meeting. They would like to make a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Seconded.
All right. Seconded, all in favor? Oh, there's Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Any objections to the minutes? None.
Okay.
There was, actually, I will bring up one small thing, which was that there was a little bit of back and forth about somebody saying whether Lydia was an official member of the committee or not. Legally or whatever, I don't know. Obviously, she hasn't come to any meetings, but she was approved and she is listed, I think, on the city website as like having applied and been approved through the process. So I think that technically makes her an official member, and I will be here otherwise, but I think also if you miss a certain number of meetings, then that calls that back into question. So I don't know where we are in that cycle, but
Okay.
we'll assume for now that we have five.
I mean, at least I had to be sworn in.
Yeah.
Right.
So if that hasn't happened yet, that
could-
factor.
Yeah, that could be a factor. I don't know, again, the legality of like each step of that process, like what that means, but
Yeah.
But anyway, other than that, the move and minutes, we've had a motion to approve. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, minutes are approved. You can submit those to the city clerk. Up next, we have public speak. We do have a couple members of the public here, but they also correspond to some agenda items. So if there's anything you all would like to say up front, we can just wait till we get to those parts.
Not at this meeting.
Not at this meeting, okay. Well, we are at the same time as city council upstairs, yeah, so we're taking some of the heat off of ourselves. Let them catch all the strays up there. Normally you don't Wednesdays, but okay, so nobody to speak from the public at the moment. As far as like moving on to committee updates go, the member update I did just mention, the sort of netherworld that one of our potential members occupies. Other than that, I think we're pretty much status quo. Some real quick updates from the Bees Committee, which we met last week. They have some things going on with the public garden that's going in behind the mills. That's been what was the word? Scraped and prepped by DPW for planting. So the plants are now being ordered, and there's a planting date set for June 7th for that in the morning. So to kind of get all those things in the ground, and again, maybe with some assistance from the Girl Scouts. And what else is relevant to that leaving out?
I mean, the only thing is that we ended up having to split the plant order into two separate ones based on what was available right now with New England wetland plants. So we might have to do another like volunteer planting day after the second plant order comes in. So if you or anybody that you know would be interested in participating in that, we're looking for volunteers, and it's bring your own shovel, I'm pretty sure. So
Nice. Beyond that, we spent a lot of time with the last meeting, sort of goal setting, looking at long, medium, short-term goals that align with stuff we've talked about before and other things that are going on. I did bring up the discussions we've been having here about trying to align with the climate action plan and like looking for opportunities to do that with things that we're doing, or in conjunction with other departments, things that we'll talk a little bit more about as we go through.
Before we leave bees entirely, because there was some excitement. I also belong to the community garden about the bees project. I guess there's a BES and a BEAS. Because I was forwarding stuff from BEAS. I received obviously different acronyms.
Yeah.
It's for different stuff.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
You're not familiar with that? Okay.
What does that stand for?
Well, now I'm gonna have to go back. I mean, they're energy related.
Okay. Well, if there's somebody specific from the community
Is it the
garden,
Building Electrification Accelerator, BEA?
Could be.
They're great, very
Okay.
different.
And a lot of the stuff
Yeah.
that comes there, I think I may have forwarded stuff, but
Yeah,
back this to another.
It might
one. I'll
be
raise-
Building
I'll raise later.
Electrification Accelerator, yeah.
But, okay, if there are two bees, I guess I should know in each town which bees we're talking about. But, okay.
if there are people, again, from the community garden that are interested in being connected with the committee, feel free to connect them with me, and I can be the bridge to that. There's going to be also like a possible invasive cleanup day next weekend or this coming weekend, Sunday.
the second Saturday of
Well,
every month.
but Sean was talking about doing another one like over Memorial Day weekend.
Let me pull up my calendar. so I
So
have the.
I don't think we've officially finalized
Uh,
time, but like, again, there's volunteer opportunities and there
Yeah,
are
that's right.
opportunities for collaboration. We were talking about, again, some maybe sort of peer to peer type stuff or, again, doing some, trying to find some opportunities to engage with people who want to learn how to do stuff at their own home, right? In a step-by-step process, sort of like, things, same things that we want to do with energy. We did talk about, which I think is on here, the farmers market, and they may have some presence there. So again, when we're there, again, if anyone from the community garden wants to come by, it might be a good opportunity to just sort of meet, chat for a few minutes and see what kind of ideas spring forth. But there were tons of ideas that were coming out of that last meeting in terms of all the goals. I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember them all
lots.
now. And there are lots of membership opportunities open on the Bees Committee because they have had the charter change
Oh,
to
they have.
expand. So if you know anyone who's interested in that line of things, have them apply because there's, I think, at least like 4 or 5 open seats now, and there's fewer requirements for where those people have to come from. Most of them are just general public members. So I know they would love to get some more folks to join up. On that note, turn it over to Sophie if you have any other updates that you or worth sharing that aren't agenda items.
Yeah, I didn't see this on the agenda, but some of the conversations I guess that would be the climate action plan item review. So that's on the agenda, my bad.
And yeah, I think we're going to go there.
We're gonna get there.
Well,
One update that I do have that's unrelated, is that I met with our power options representative. Heather had brought it up to me that we were not using our membership as to its fullest potential. So I met yesterday with our power options representative, and we were chatting about potentially having some follow-up conversations to talk about support for our fleet electrification. She seemed to be interested in pursuing something with bus electrification. I sent over the materials that we've done with that, and she was going to connect me with someone in power options that works with communities on bus electrification to see if it's even possible with a contracted bus company to be able to pursue something like that. And then we were also looking at getting a more kind of updated and rounded out proposal for potentially like rooftop solar on City Hall or another property that people are interested in.
So would you tell me what power options represent? What I don't.
Yes,
Who is
sorry.
that? What
Yes,
is that?
Power Options is a energy management company. We use them for natural gas procurement.
Okay.
And
Okay.
they basically help procure our natural gas contracts, but they also have support and resources available for building electrification and
Okay.
helping municipalities implement decarbonization roadmaps, planning for decarbonization roadmaps and things like that. So we were kind of only leveraging the natural gas procurement side of it, and now
Yeah.
I've opened.
So is that
communication?
a free service they're providing because we use them for
We do
procurement?
pay for a membership to them, and with our
Okay.
membership comes these.
Oh, I see.
consulting services,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
So that's a conversation, and if we do have specific projects, Kate seems super open to chatting about how they can support that.
And her name is Kate.
I'm blanking on the last name. I can send their information over.
Okay.
I know we had been talking about the vehicles that we have in our inventory. I compiled a full fossil fuel vehicle inventory with all of the databases that I had. I put it in one place. It might not still be completely accurate. It took me a time because I was looking through like our MEI vehicles and then the vehicles that I have in the DPW drive. And so I put all of them on one thing, and it's the second page on the doc that I had shared over with the electric vehicles. And I've highlighted the ones that I've broken them up based on what database I found them in, and then also information on whether or not there is even an electric or hybrid option, because some of them are obviously heavy duty vehicles that aren't eligible. And so I've been trying to kind of slowly go through and pick out the ones that might be on their way out or ready to be replaced or could be next in that line. So I wanted to mention that. And then the last thing I'll say that I don't think is on the agenda has to do with the proposed e-bike ordinance. Ben from Northampton reached out to me because he, as a resident, was concerned about it. And basically said that he'd be willing to testify in front of city council or prepare sort of an impact statement for how it would impact Northampton to have the ordinance be passed. And so if you're interested in having him come and chat about collaboration with that and talking to city council, he would be open to it.
So where does the city, my understanding is from you,
Yeah.
that it's still being written. It's not a done deal exactly what's going to be in it. Is it now
Alex seems to have a more
complete?
Yeah, I probably have the
picture.
most recent update because I was
Yes,
one
we
of
do.
one of 3 attendees at the public safety committee meeting. So the public safety committee met. All 3 people who showed up for public speak were in opposition to the ordinance as drafted.
And is it the same as what you sent me?
Yeah, right. It's
Okay.
the sort of language that came down, which came from city council chair, was described to me as like a conversation starter on this
Yes,
stuff.
yeah.
And then it became clear in the discussion, at least as far as I heard from the city council members, that the concern has like really come out of like kids going too fast on what some people I think are mistaking as e-bikes and are in fact electric motorcycles. And so the direction where the committee seemed to be heading at the end of the last meeting was an attempt to just sort of like basically it's no longer going to be an e-bike ordinance. It's going to be an electric motorcycle ordinance. And like, hey, maybe there's like an age limit on electric motorcycles and maybe electric motorcycles. I don't think they are currently allowed, but clarifying that they're not allowed on the bike path and
Yeah.
you need to wear a helmet and,
Yeah.
those kinds of things. So
Because when you and I were writing that
Yeah.
was really what I was
Right,
concerned
yeah,
about.
and I agree. I
Yeah.
like
People going
electric
by.
motorcycles are massively these like e-motos that are in between like an actual motorcycle where everyone would agree like I'm going to go get a license and like wear
Yeah.
a helmet, etc. And then like e-bikes, which are like just bicycles, and then but this like in between of like giving a 16-year-old a bicycle that goes 35
Or a
miles an hour
12-year-old.
or a 12-year-old, right? So that's my understanding based on the last public safety committee meeting is the direction they had to go, which is great.
So
from like
it's
from a
going
sort
to
of-
be rewritten. They're
Yeah.
working on
So
revising
there'll
it.
be a revised
Okay.
version.
Okay.
I think that is going to sort of take the like bicycle community's anxiety about
Mhm.
it down by several orders of magnitude.
Wasn't there something also issued out of the state? I seem to remember the governor came out with something very recent.
Yes. So the governor, in January, I think it was, there was a micromobility commission that issued a report about sort of what should we do about like the growing use of e-bikes, e-motorcycles, electric scooters, all that kind of thing. And it was composed of, there was like a police chief on there and bike advocates and walkability advocates. It was like one of these sort of big, wide-ranging commissions. They issued a report. It's got a bunch of recommendations that recommends, that I'm happy to share with the group if anyone wants to see it. And the governor at the start of May, which is Bike Month, introduced the Bike Safe Act, which is basically codifies not all, but I would say the majority of the recommendations. But I haven't heard any notion that it would move this session, given everything else that's on the legislature's plate. So it will. My expectation is that might end up getting punted to the following session.
So, how closely does the initial draft for the meeting that you went to
Yeah.
relate to the?
Yeah, I mean, the initial draft is very much out of line with the new structure that's
Okay.
been proposed for statewide legislation. So one of my comments at the start of the meeting was basically there's a lot of things to do in the city government of Northampton right now, writing an ordinance that we would have to rewrite in a year or two.
Yeah.
For categories where the state is like actively contemplating action with the governor's leadership did not seem like the best use of bandwidth. I think there's like my sense from the committee is that there is like an urgent, like there's a desire to get at least some like measures in place, but I think there are probably ways for them to do that that will be consistent with where the language will be
But,
in a couple of years.
I read one
Yeah.
of the two, right? I think I read the state one. Anyway, it didn't seem, I'm not sure either or both relates to speed limits. Because I don't recall that being said. It seems to me everything that's been described, the chief factor of concern is, of course, the speed on those things. So why don't we just, no matter what it is that you're using,
Yeah.
why are we not setting speed limits?
Uh,
Or why wouldn't speed limits be set?
Right. So the way it would work with respect to the bike. So if something's an electric motorcycle, it's not supposed to be on sidewalks, which is one area of concern. And it's also not supposed to be on the bike path. And so if it goes over 20 miles an hour, then with an assist, then it's not an electric bike, it's an electric motorcycle. And so those things would not be allowed on the bike path. That's a vehicular category, regardless of their speed.
Regardless of the speed.
Yeah.
on the path.
There was also discussion about speed limit on the path, and I did point out that I think Northampton has a speed limit for their bike path in the statute. So
What is it? Is it 20 miles per hour?
Must be 50.
I think it's 50. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry to get-
No, it's okay. I'm
No,
gonna
that's
say that
okay.
the public safety committee will have
Yeah.
to pick it up from
Yeah.
there. But I appreciate you all sharing the information that you have. And Sophie, was there anything more?
One incredibly quick thing that doesn't
Yeah.
have to be a conversation, but we had talked last time about drafting a municipal resolution for support of the Make Polluters Pay bill.
Mhm.
And I started doing that, and then literally that night, city council
Yeah.
passed one.
Yeah.
So I actually had nothing to do with that, and I was like, oh, okay, I was drafting one this morning, and so now we don't need to do it.
I gave you so much credit for it.
No. I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you should.
All right. Thank you, Sophie, and thank you,
Your energy.
everybody. Lindsay, are you good for a couple minutes if we go to the next item?
Yeah.
On the agenda? Okay. I want to be mindful of everybody's time here. All right, so we'll move on to the next bit, which is an update on the town lodging house update, of which Heather is joining us again. The quick update, if everybody's seen, is that it went through the city council. The city council approved the motion to basically open up an RFP for that property for, I forget the exact term is, but the unloading of it from the city, but it will still have to follow the strictures that are on it agriculturally, housing wise, et cetera. So there's going to be a lot of stipulations. Heather from Renewal Initiatives came last time and gave us the presentation on their proposal, what they're hoping to do. And Heather, why don't you give us an update on things from your side?
Sure, thanks. Exactly right. So, as we had anticipated, it got to RFP status, or will get to RFP status. The timeline is June, mid-June. It will be released. They just announced at the property committee on Monday night. So we are planning on a proposal, and in that, we're just, part of the reason why we're getting out and doing this work with the community and the committees is not only to make sure that the community is giving us input and making, ensuring that the community wants us there, for one, because we wouldn't want to be in the community where the community doesn't want us. So we're doing these kind of conversations with all the relevant, community committees for, getting that feedback, like I mentioned last time, and you all gave us some, and we'll incorporate it. A lot of it, I think, is going to be in the detailed planning once we get to design mode, as we stated, but also to get letters of support. So part of our proposal package, we're hoping to show that the community does in fact want us there, wants to partner with us. For you all, as we talked about, we hope to work with you on going as far as we possibly can with decarbonization. So it would be a partnership with the committee for that, and any other advisory that you're willing to impart. And a specialized code takes care of a lot, so we're going to have to more than stretch. We're going to have to be specialized in a lot of ways, but just having that relationship and that partnership and kind of documenting that into a letter of support, so that we're showing the proposal review committee that there is support from the energy side of the community was an ask. And it was also just it could be from the committee, Jamie, I was thinking, or from individuals if the committee doesn't feel. And I can jump off if you all want. I have to go at 6:30, but for y'all's discussion, so if you feel more comfortable having that discussion without me here. But that was the ask, is to come back around and say, okay, you've heard our plan and proposal for the property. We'd love to see, to ask for a letter of support. And then one last thing I would say is we did put in for a pre-app for the climate ready housing application that was in for this property. I think I had mentioned last time that we're hoping to get some additional dollars from different state programs and such that could help with going to the nth mile to the net zero with decarbonization. They did not ask us to proceed to the full application for this year. They said come back next year. I think they saw that, it's a little bit early days with the RFP not having been out in the street is my sense. So we'll go back again and hopefully together with you all, hopefully we'll go back if we are awarded. But by that time next year, we should know whether we are moving forward or not after the review RFP process. So did I miss anything, Jamie? Anything else to summarize?
That's it. Yeah, I was gonna open the floor to questions while you
Yes,
have a
please.
minute here. So
So I went to the first meeting where it was the city council brought it up, and there were a lot of people there who were very upset about this. I'm sure you're aware, and a lot of
Historical commission meeting here?
This is-
Not historical.
I think they may be upstairs. Yeah.
I'm sure more aware than I am. There are people who feel that like this property, especially the acreage, not so much the building, is something that the community has been taking care of for a very long time. There's some local farmers who have been using that land for a long time. They feel like they have been responsible for sustaining and maintaining that property, which seems to me like a valid point. And what I'm wondering is, why are we selling? You're not planning to use that land, is my understanding from the presentation that you gave us. Why can't we just not sell that piece and continue to lease it to local farmers who want to use it? And I don't know if that's an unreasonable thing to say. That's the question that I have about it.
Sure. So a couple of things. One, we have been talking with the Chickwins since last year, hoping to integrate just like we're doing with you all to be partners in this, and totally can understand that they have been leasing it for 40 years and they feel like it's their land. So they feel like, they want to put their own proposal in, which totally, wish them well, and, they may be able to be successful. But we still have a plan that we've heard from many community members that they want us to do, to have that property be the property and benefit for the whole community, including the land, I'll say. So it's, our vision is that they continue to access that land for their grass-fed cow production. We have to work out, and it's kind of the sticky point. I think they want to put their own proposal in no matter what, but we can't figure that out until we get onto the property, until we do NRCS studies and figure out what that looks like and how to do that together with the practices that the regenerative agriculture school will be teaching. So we would have to work that out, and we're still committed to that no matter what happens in this process. If we were selected, we will continue to honor that commitment to working together with them. We just have to figure out the details. There will be parts that will change, right? Because we do have to have some training plots and land. So there will be additional farming activity beyond just the monoculture hay that they do. We will be doing other demonstration crop, food, vegetable production for the schools is, one of the thoughts, things like that benefit the whole community, but also allow for the participants of the education program and to be able to do their own activities in farming. We are, our whole job is about supporting farmers. So don't love that this is an issue, because we want and we believe at the end of the day we will help resource their farm and make it better than ever, and they'll be long-term partners for us. But as far as splitting the property, I think the city council said in that meeting they can't do that. They're not willing to do that. That takes an act of legislation. I don't want to speak for them, but that's what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Thank you. That's my question. I actually have another question. I don't want you to think that I'm feeling negative about this, but I am wondering, your organization has not ever done a program of this size before. It seems like the things that you have done so far are pretty limited and not even remotely at this level. And I'm just wondering, it makes me a little nervous that you're taking on, there's a lot to take on without any real background in running this kind of program?
Yeah, of course. So we are a new nonprofit started for the development of this property, true, but the background and experience of the whole team does have that experience. And a couple, just to mention, Klein Hornig is our go-to counsel. They've done probably hundreds at this point, if not thousands, affordable housing, historic preservation projects. They're our legal counsel. We have a historic preservation counsel. We have an affordable housing development consultant. And so in terms of the housing component of development, which is tricky business, especially when you get into historic tax credits and affordable housing rules, we have a team that backs that up that we've been working with since last year to develop the plans because we needed to know this was possible, right? So we bring a team in addition to our own individual experiences for those on the team of renewal initiatives. And then for Farmer Veteran Coalition, in terms of the programming and campus for a training academy for regenerative agriculture, they have done the Hive holistic programming that we talked about in smaller chunks, right? But they have not done the 2-year training academy. But what they do have is experience working with longer format regenerative agriculture and agriculture programming. Rodale Institute, if you've heard of them, they are partners and they work with them together on their programming. Nobel Institute, I don't remember all of them.
Is Rodale going to be involved in running the program, the educational piece?
We're hoping for partnership. We don't have anything in writing, but they are Farmer Veteran Coalition and Rodale are already partners. So we have to, figure out what the roles would be. But the idea would be that we're not creating from scratch, that we work with partners. In their programming, they use NRCS, they use NCAT, they use already existing organizations, and hopefully Rodale will be one of them because they're the premier. If not them, Nobel Institute is also who they're talking to. And they've been delivering that programming, granted in a smaller format, but they've been delivering that program already for 2 years.
But it is a significantly smaller format. I mean, it's not even remotely similar to what you're talking about doing. It's a very small format. From what I understood, you described.
Yeah, right. So again, the same thing with the housing. We bring in the teams that have done that longer format of the partners that Farmer Veteran Coalition has, that we would do that. And part of the reason why to do this too, then, because they haven't done it before, is because it hasn't been done. No one's doing it. And that's the problem. All the farming programs are just farming. All the behavioral health are just behavioral health. We're trying to do what we believe is the solution for veterans in transition, as well as agriculture, and bringing all these things together. And so it is, yes, it has to be innovative in that way. But I hear your concern, and we would just, we feel confident that we've got the partners that can help us deliver success in the team. And that's what the team is made up of, not just 2 organizations.
Okay, thank you for answering that.
I appreciate the concern. Yeah.
Jump off or not, but is the RFP officially out or not yet?
Not yet. They announced at the property committee, I believe it was June 14th or so, that they were planning on June 10th and June 17th. They were going to publicly announce the RFP or publish it, advertise it as they have to.
Okay. And then I imagine there's a couple months at least of response time to that, right? So your submission won't be due until maybe late summer, early fall.
July 13th is our deadline.
Oh, really? That's
30 days. They are planning on the proposals being done, and but then they will take up to 120 days to review. So for our side, for our proposal package and the request for any support that anyone is motivated to give, it would be by July 13th we would need. Or that's a 10 a.m. deadline, so let's back it up a couple of days before that.
Yeah, you know, me emailing you at 9:45.
If anyone's done RFPs, we hate to, we're not waiting till last minute. So that's how the process will work.
Okay, I'm just trying to think through, because our next meeting, I think, is going to be, was it June 16th, maybe?
Or the 14th?
Yeah,
I think did I put it in the minutes?
I'm sure it's in this because we decided the next 3. I just forget off the top of my head. I think our next one's June 16th. So point being that, by that time the RFP will be out, or at least somewhat out. And, we'll have a little bit, the 16th, thank you. So anyway, we'll have at least one more meeting before that to be able to deliberate a little bit more about this and hear a little bit more about what's going on. I think, generally speaking, I'm not going to speak for anybody. Generally speaking, I find the project, compelling. I think there's a lot of interest there. I think there's a lot of good things.
I agree.
So, we have to discuss as a committee whether we feel comfortable, potentially supporting that and putting, the committee's name on it, or whether we want to move that to individuals. But as things, if anything continues to develop on your side, you want to provide updates, continue to do so. And did anybody else have any questions? So we did.
And if you decide individually or as a community moving forward, we can also help with draft letters of support. In my mind, what we're working towards is a partnership around, of course, going as far as we can for decarbonization. Maybe we can be partners in fighting Daisy as well, and pull me back into that one. As I mentioned before, all things energy, I always have we'll continue to have a great love for, but. Yeah, that's our hope, is what to do with that property, and having partners in that is, I think, what the letter of support to me would be about. But if there's other things and feedback and such that you'd want to include, we can help you draft that if that would be of help.
Great.
Thank you.
We look forward to more updates, and
Thank you for coming to talk
thanks
to us again.
for coming back and doing
My
all that.
pleasure. Yeah, and Jamie's got my contact information. Please feel free to reach out, questions, concerns. Okay.
We'll do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Do you all feel the need to deliberate more on that right now, about the potential, or any thoughts you have about whether it's even if we all support it, whether we should do that from the committee standpoint?
My thought, following from our presentation before, is rather than endorse a particular response to the RFP, instead to kind of endorse the concept of our general support as a committee for certain things that might happen on the property, like decarbonization is what you've done about, or power production, or there's an array that I'm much
Regenerative agriculture.
I'm much more comfortable with than aligning behind any
A particular group that we really don't have a relationship with.
in this area. So personally, also speaking, I would say whatever it requires. I as just a citizen, I'd feel much better with the city leasing, like a 99 term year lease.
I feel that way too.
than
I don't
selling out that
understand this.
property.
I agree. I don't understand why we have to sell that.
I understand
piece of land.
the desire to remove it from city operations. I just don't think selling that. I don't think selling it. The notion of first right of refusal is meaningless to me, because they have every right. I think, unless we put it differently, that the right of refusal would relate to at that time present market value, not the transition price at the time of the sale. So the value of that property is going to increase, most likely. And anyway, that's
Again, I feel we've wandered away from the purview of this committee.
No, we have, but in terms of the question, yes, we're being asked about the support, and that's what I'm comfortable with.
No, I think that part,
I think that's a really good
it's great.
approach. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I think generally speaking, that's probably the right way to go.
I agree.
Is to keep it more generic and not necessarily, aligned with goals and not aligned with a particular, group, because there are, we don't have everyone else coming to give us a presentation on what their plans are, or maybe they will, but we don't know what else. I mean, there could be others besides the ones that have been mentioned. So I think that's a reasonable way, and we can again discuss again at the next meeting as we get.
And actually, I have no idea what the thinking is behind it's time for the city to sell that land either. There may be some very good arguments. I guess
that's personal thought. I agree. It's outside of.
I don't know enough, and it's not our. We have no say in the matter one way or the other. So, okay, so move on from that. So we're going to jump around just a little bit here because Lindsay's been here and been patient. And we're going to talk about this in the context of sort of climate action plan, action item review, which we've been doing for the past few meetings. We've talked about the ways we might want to engage with different city departments and projects. Some of the ones that Sophie mentioned already are options, but also, Lindsay, when sort of came to light that you were taking the role there, it just sort of triggered something in me, is like, we've never even thought about like those properties, and they're, well, I guess you can tell us sort of like the disposition of them, like are they city property or are they not? what is the role does the housing authority have and all that, so.
I'm learning it all right now.
Okay, I guess you can introduce yourself
Yeah,
to your
so-
official title.
I'm Lindsay Sikola, the Executive Director of the Easthampton Housing Authority. We are a state-aided public housing facility. We have 188 units throughout the city. And 40 of those roughly are family housing. The rest are elderly disabled housing. We are not tied to city government in any way, other than we have to follow the same ordinances and policies set forth by the mayor and council. But I am, being state funded. We have no ties to like the city general fund or anything of that nature. We're tied to EOHLC and their funding and their contract and state regulations. for
Say that
housing.
again, what's E?
EOHLC, which is the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities,
Okay, thank you.
formerly HUD, which was a lot easier. And we have 5 different sites. So we have Cliffview Manor off of Holyoke Street. We have Sunrise Manor off of Clark Street. We have Dickinson Court off of Liberty Street. And our family housing is called Glad Acres. And we have 31 developments that are on South Street, Eli Ave, Sunset Ave, and John Street. And then we have a couple scattered sites. So I have 2 3-bedroom units at my office space on 112 Holyoke.
Oh.
We acquired 2 properties on Arlington and Pleasant Street, which are 2 family houses as well, which are family housing units. So all that said, these again are all state public housing units. And I have noticed over time that we're kind of our own community. We're a subset of the community. So I'm really excited that you guys invited me here tonight because I've been looking in my own ways, how can we integrate our community with the general community as well and make us feel a little more tied into our city government.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be here and learn more about any thought processes you all have. And really quick, one thing that did pop into my mind when I started looking at our sites and stuff, so we don't have electric vehicle chargers. So kids coming to visit parents in our elderly disabled units don't have it. Family housing doesn't have any connectivity unless they drive down here to City Hall. I'm working with the MBI, the Massachusetts Broadband Institute right now. We are launching a project where we're getting fiber to all of our public housing units, and we'll be offering the low-cost internet to our tenants. So looking at other ways we can do energy resource and income efficiency.
Nice.
So are those buildings well insulated? Do you have any idea?
I have a ton of
What's
ideas.
what's your relationship with Mass Save? Are you eligible to take advantage of Mass Save?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, can we, back that
Yeah.
up for a second? So I assume just the housing authority, pay all electric costs. Okay, and is that through Eversource?
It is.
Okay. So chances are that you are eligible for mass save, because I think any residential business, right, take advantage of that. I mean, I assume are you technically a nonprofit, or is it you're quasi-governmental?
We're
or-
quasi-government.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
so I
the
know it's a
strangest
weird
thing I've
area.
ever encountered.
They're really governmental.
Yeah,
It's just that there's an independence, that would be set aside so that it's not, it's
It
unusual.
is.
But that's the way it is. But you're pretty much a government.
Yeah.
okay. And I guess, do your residents with Eversource, do they pay the discount, or do you get the discounted rate for like low income? That, an individual would qualify for if they also qualify for, say, like, food stamps or anything else? Anybody that's getting that?
Sorry, can I interrupt? How many meters do you have? Each
Cindy
building
is an energy advocate.
Yeah.
I know her mind is going.
Meter?
No idea the answer to that question.
Like how many accounts are there?
So we have, one of our developments has 10 buildings, another development has 4 buildings.
You
I
have
don't know what site.
somebody on staff who manages all the bills and pays all that? That's you,
I
okay.
had no staff until today. Thank you. So I'm kind of, figuring this out. I just made site plans today, updated the ones from 19 something.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, so those are questions, right? Like how many
Right.
bills are you getting? How many different meters are there? Are people paying the normal rate or the discounted rate?
Right.
Are there any other, supply? Are you working with another supplier perhaps? Did anybody ever set up another supply contract? Or are you just paying Eversource?
We're just paying our
Okay.
I know that much. And our tenants are responsible, in family housing for their gas and oil bills,
Okay, so you don't,
but we pay the electric,
you
water.
pay the electric, okay. Are they eligible for, say, like, energy assistance, I guess, for gas and oil, like through community action?
Yes, they are.
Okay,
And they
yeah.
can also apply for raft assistance for any housing costs.
If the gas and oil for heating would get switched over to electric, like through heat pumps, so the cost would be completely deferred off of the customer for heating and cooling then, because you're
Because
paying
we
the
pay the
electric.
electric.
So if they go through Mass Save, if they're eligible for Mass Save, and I think Cindy and I were talking this morning at the senior center in Northampton about how if a certain amount of units are income eligible, the whole property is eligible for 100% rebates on heat pump and installation. upgrades. So if those properties switched over completely to electric through heat pumps, their heating bills would go down to zero.
Oh.
The residents' heating bills would go down.
Correct. The housing authorities would go up. The
Right,
residents would,
Right.
it would go from they pay their
right.
heating too. So that's something.
Right, and that would be something I guess I would have to check in with EOHLC about as
Yes.
well, because they set our budget annually as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve. Yeah.
So, you're getting a small flavor of the kinds of things that we would, I think when it was discussed at the last meeting with your appointment, and I'll speak for myself, but belated congratulations.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
And, then we started thinking, oh, wow, we could do some exciting things that we can kind of do. So we're kind of like.
I'm ready for it.
There's very
Yeah.
few, so it's such like
And,
untapped
it's like-
potential.
Getting you in so soon, which is great.
Right,
Because the idea of this was just introductory. We gotta give you time.
Yes.
You'll
I'm going
learn
for one
on
government
the run. You just got a staff person today. I mean, my goodness. I think between now and the next time, which I hope is relatively soon, that we can come back in and really start talking specifics about
yeah,
potential initiatives and what we can do. That you'll be able to kind of learn the landscape a little bit and then really connect. There must be folks at the top of the agency that can resource you, hear a little bit about kind of like, what's available. I would think, I don't know that,
good thing.
but I think if you at least explore that among the
Sure.
other things that you're doing, just to appreciate, that
Yeah.
kind of thing, what you can tap in terms of, then I think we'll be able to work together, even more.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think we all felt from a gut level that there's some good things that we can do here. So
From the standpoint of sort of like green and climate leader communities too, do you think that, Sophie, whether that, potential grant opportunities, if we were partnering with like a community organization like that, is that the type of thing where we could, access grant money that's going to help decarbonize, that's going to help, be climate forward
Yeah.
sort of stuff? Like,
There is one program that you're probably familiar with. I think that Heather mentioned the Climate Ready Housing Grant.
I'm not.
There is a part, I don't know if it's housing authorities that would have to be the lead applicant or if it would be like the city would partner and we could do it through our climate leaders. I'm not sure necessarily how that would work, but I have heard of certain grant opportunities that do support public housing specifically for
Oh, great.
decarbonization
Okay.
efforts and
I'll
energy
look into that.
efficiency efforts. So I can also look into that as well. If that's something that we would
That'd be
able to work
helpful.
on
Thank you.
together.
is that bees again?
Yeah, right.
Bees.
and then to bring it back to what Kai's saying before, we jump into all these things, like there is even just the basic like energy efficiency work. And like, I don't know, one thing you may or may not be able to find is like, has anything been done? Has insulation been blown into these things recently? Are they, how old are the windows?
Yeah.
Has anyone just done like basic like door sweeps and
That would lower the bills.
that would lower bills for
housing
that would lower
authority, yeah.
bills for the
Right.
housing authority and for heating
Yes.
and cooling. Like even just if somebody's going, have they gone through and done the light bulbs and the power strips and all the
Low flow shower heads.
shower heads and all
Right.
that. Yeah, just like, you know,
Low-hanging
the
fruit
basic
there,
energy
yeah.
audit stuff that they'll come and do for free, like in a, you know, in an afternoon,
Yeah,
or whatever, you know.
okay.
So, and, you know, again, we can connect you with, I mean, there's tons of partners in Community Action or, you know, sorry, Mass Save, you know, has a bunch of people, you know, different groups that they'll send out
Yeah.
that are partners with them. So, and, you know, those first ones are like no cost. And then they say, okay, here's the stuff we'll do for free. And then here's the other stuff that's going to cost you, but here's the
If
payment.
they treat you the way they treat homeowners, they do a lot for free,
Yeah.
a lot from insulation. I mean, it's really kind of amazing.
Okay.
Assuming that you would get the same.
Because, well,
goodies.
yeah, right, because there are rebates available for most people, and then again, for low income or that sort of thing, there may be additional incentives available. So.
Did you want to say something?
Sorry, I'm like biting my tongue. Yeah, the Mass Save has a multi-family unit, whole department. And I would talk to them directly because I think that there's been other housing authorities in the state that have worked directly with Mass Save, and they have different types of engineers than would be different than like a single family or a small business. I think a lot of the contractors that that work around here are more like single family or up to 4 units, and then beyond that, it'll probably have to get into like Rise Engineering or like Adobe or Abode, some of those other kind of companies. But all the energy efficiency stuff will be like probably free because it's income eligible housing. But I know that there's some possibly grants for solar assessment, which might be interesting if you're going to go all electrification, right? What are you going to do? Where your electricity going to come from? And maybe you have a lot of roof space, and that would be of interest to you.
Yeah, and beyond that, another for the kitchen sink at you here, but community solar is another potential bridge to doing that. Like, if you can work with a group, because again, there are special carve outs for low income there as well, and they get it. So, community solar is great because number one, you don't have to install anything. Number two, you get a bonus on your bill for the same kilowatts, basically. And for low income, I think it's 20% on top of whatever. So you pay for the community solar, that comes off your bill plus an adder, essentially. So you're getting an even bigger discount on that by being a subscriber.
Yeah, River Valley Co-op does that with Common Good.
Yeah, and there's there's another group that's come and talked to us before that does work specifically with like the carve outs for low income, because usually every community solar project needs X number of subscribers that fall in this income bracket, and then everything else can be sort of market rate.
So I guess the question is, the tenants are not paying the electricity bills. So
Right.
The question is,
the housing
how does that
authority
affect eligibility to find out?
Well, I do know I do know our electric bills are grouped by building and location too. So it's not like we get one Eversource bill for everything. We get billed by the units too. So that's helpful for me to assess costs there. And I do have to, I'm supposed to, and I will at some point, do energy reporting in our state system as well. That's a part of energy reports, but I haven't really looked at that and what they look like or what I'm supposed to be reporting, but I'm sure I'll get some more insight from that.
The community solar, that goes to that grant that we had applied for, the Empower program that would fund Cindy's position basically as the community solar advocate.
Okay.
So if we get the Empower grant, Cindy would be an employee that could potentially conduct outreach with the housing authority residents.
The Empower grant we're going for.
The Empower grant that we applied for.
Trying to get everybody on
low income
solar, but a lot of them are low income.
Okay.
Depending on what kind of grants you get, because you get more incentives for like different,
So I don't want you to just walk out of here thinking, well, they said a lot of stuff, but what am I supposed to do with this information? Like what should we, I just want to make this more concrete for Lindsay about what is going to happen next, I guess.
I agree with you. It's a little amorphous right now.
Yeah.
What my thought is just, it's a little opportunity. I mean, we could throw a whole bunch of stuff up, and I don't know how useful it is to you, but I really am serious about coming back relatively soon and just giving
Well,
Who's gonna
what, so
chance to
are
pull
we going,
together?
well, who's gonna, are you gonna do that?
I'm happy to be the liaison to invite Lindsay back if we want to spend some time
I would-
like
I'm gonna
brainstorming
speak
and then.
myself. I'd love to.
Okay.
Yeah.
do that.
Your June 14th meeting, I can't come in person, but I could probably jump on remotely if you don't mind. I just 5-year-old car feeling in the background.
And so how are we gonna have more information for her?
16th, June 16th.
That's what.
Oh, okay.
I said, I'm just gonna email her some
She'll
info.
be able to report to us about what she knows.
Yeah.
Then then we can proceed.
Yeah, I like throwing things at me because that way I can categorize and organize on my end too. So I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna figure out what my energy reporting looks like with the state. I'm going to connect with Mass Save to the multifamily team contact. I'm gonna find out how many, units we tie into for electricity. See what energy efficiency work we've done, talk with EOHLC about what we can collaborate on too financially.
Wow, okay.
That's a lot of action items.
I like it.
Just give it to me and then
I'm looking at the climate ready housing right now and
Yeah, that's on here.
it actually says, Massachusetts Housing Partnership and Mass Housing administer the program on behalf of EOHLC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they would do it.
It sounds to me
We would give them the information.
like,
We wouldn't actually apply for the grant.
I have to read through it again. EOHLC is looped in some way with the climate ready housing program.
Can you
Um,
email me that?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
MHP Mass Housing LISC program in partnership with EOHLC.
Okay. Yeah, email me that and I can look through that too.
Is that the same as the new Green Bank for housing
Oh,
in the Commonwealth?
Actually.
So I think that might be like yet another.
Another
program that's a
opportunity. Great.
Possibility, because the state has, Massachusetts does not have a green
Yeah.
bank for general purpose stuff, but we have a dedicated one for housing. So, yeah, I think the one other thing I would add to the to-do list is just a sense for each property of like heat and hot water. Is it gas or is it oil? Because I think that
Okay.
that all really alters the project economics for each space. So if there were a spreadsheet, we like spreadsheets. We're a pro spreadsheet committee. So
Also, what utility would be involved?
yeah, but it's
It's
gonna
ever
be the same for everyone here. So
Well, you get gas and electric from
Eversource.
same, and
It should be. It should be
Oh.
Eversource,
Gas.
but I'm not sure.
you're right, Eversource
Yeah.
has gas.
And there are units that have oil heat, is that what you said?
I know that it was an option in the leasing information that I had, that the tenant is responsible for their gas/oil
I see.
heating. So I don't know which units are, what types are updated. We just did some, I know some work we did is we just did some boiler replacements at one of our projects, but
it would be gas.
I guess my question is when the city did its survey of city buildings, was that, did the housing authority get included? Did
No,
that
it would not
include-
be included.
They were
Would
not
not be
included in
included.
that survey.
The EV chargers also sparked something in my mind. I spoke with, when I talked to Power Options yesterday, one of the grants that Kate had mentioned was, adding more EV chargers specifically in low income areas and the
yeah.
additional supports that are available to be able to do that. Because a lot of the funding for EV chargers generally and for fleets is relatively limited, but there is special funding set aside to be able to do that. And I feel like public housing would be a fantastic
That would be.
opportunity for those funds. So I will reach back out to Kate and say, this is something we might want to look into.
yes, absolutely. Thank you. Much appreciated. Oh, this is great.
Yeah, and there's probably, lots of willing partners out there in the EV charging space too, especially if they can access.
And are there certain properties that you have in mind where it would make more sense? You mentioned like the elderly residents, having kids come is.
Yeah, I think that the two sites that we would have the space to
Yep.
do it would be Cliffview Manor and Dickinson Court.
Okay.
That's the one off Liberty Street.
Yeah, Dickinson is off of Liberty and Cliffview, and even the Housing Authority main office where we have 2 family units.
Yeah.
And people from Cliffview can park there and walk across the street to Cliffview too.
Totally.
It's a 1 to 2 minute walk, if,
Mhm.
I mean, it wouldn't make sense for our tenants there, but it would make sense for people visiting there to walk across the street. We have a crosswalk there. But Cliffview, 112 Holyoke, and Dickinson Court would be the locations that having one in family housing would be great, but
Yeah.
one, I don't know how many people there have electric vehicles, and I don't know where we would put a pad for one either. just because they are on public streets.
Right.
So,
Well, a long time ago, like, there was a talk about state money for chargers on city streets. Remember when we did?
Yeah.
That was the plan. Is that still happening
That's a
or is
good
that
question.
over?
I'm not up
That
to
might have been
date.
flow through from the Inflation Reduction
Yeah,
Act.
that IRA, it was IRA stuff from federal funding. And then it
Okay.
was utility funding for, like for street chargers. And the
Yes.
utility funding has been completely
Okay,
exhausted.
so
for
that's
level
not
3
gonna
and 2.
happen right now.
And then the IRA is gone. So
it.
it's like just
Okay.
limited.
Yeah, but if you're talking like level 2 chargers, right, you don't necessarily need a huge, like a pad, like
No.
the way you would like for like a fast charger,
mhm.
something like that. But so I don't know how flexible level 2 is in terms of like, what the footprint is that you need to put something in.
I mean, we have level 2s right out here.
Right.
But the level 3 right there doesn't look like it takes up too much space either.
That is still level 2.
Is it?
The fleet one, yeah.
I thought it was a level 3.
We don't have a level 3 in town now. So
We don't have any level 3s in town.
I was sworn
you
that
could be the
was.
first.
Don't tax me. Okay.
And stuff that was on your property, say at like 112 Holyoke or Busy Manor, would that theoretically be accessible to the public as well? Or would it- yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have tenants living there and it's our offices, but public in the sense that if they have guests I don't know if they consider it private property then if you just have someone coming down the mountain wanting to use
Right.
the level 3 charger.
Right.
That's where I would have to check with the EOHLC on what they say about those types of restrictions, if any.
But I'll definitely put in my vote that in terms of tenant benefit,
Yeah.
like if heating oil prices are gonna stay where they are right now, if like even a couple of units could get transitioned off of oil before the next winter heating season, that would probably make a big difference to those families' energy budgets. So
And then wouldn't also, if they transitioned over to heat pumps, it would get on the heat pump rate for the winter. So the delta would not be as great potentially. Like I'm just thinking from the housing authority, if they're gonna have to then pay for the heating, what would that look like for budget reasons and in the winter? It maybe wouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, right. The housing authority would have to be willing to take whatever
To take on
the rate change
Right,
would be.
Right.
But in terms of tenant benefit, I think it's like moving from oil heat was already the like easy economic heat pump case in the Commonwealth, and that was before prices went way up. So.
And this, I guarantee a lot of this information my maintenance director has. I mean, he's been there for 12 years. He's the only staff that kind of remained during this transition too. So I'll share this to-do list with him and then join you guys for your next meeting and have some updates.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
It is. It is. What else? Anything else? Should I stay for more?
Well, we're going to be talking.
We can talk about gas stoves at the future meeting.
Actually, that's a good question. What are the stoves?
They're
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
That's good.
And just real quickly, at the beginning of the meeting, you had given an update about invasive species removal. I know they're probably not the purview of this committee, as it would be conservation.
Committee. Well,
Bees. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to point out, when things like that are happening on the city side, if people could connect with me, that would be super helpful because I identified with Ava, actually, we have a ton of invasive species on one of our units. So I had her walk the property.
Bees would love that.
Yes,
And we have Japanese knotweed and honeysuckle I need to put a mitigation plan in place for that. But when you're talking about volunteers and people looking for things to do, I've got tons of stuff to do.
That's awesome. They usually
That's kind of like that inclusion that
Yeah.
our public housing hasn't been a part of these city efforts, but we're here and we have these same problems that homeowners have. That private landlords have. So just being included in those conversations moving forward would be much appreciated.
Yeah. She said you have 188 units, so what total population, like 400 or more?
Not even, because most of our elderly disabled housing are one tenants inside. It's very rare that we have 2 tenants living in those because they're studio efficiencies.
Okay.
So,
Got it.
yeah.
Lindsay, would you be open to me setting up like an email instruction between you and the committee chair for
Absolutely, yeah.
bees, because they do invasive removals. They usually do them the second Saturday of every month. And they typically pick like an area on the Manhan. But I know that if they had like a location to go to, they would be all over that.
Yeah.
So
Cliffview Manor, we have
Cliffview, yeah.
a lot of backwood property that's abutting, I think a farm, someone's farm.
That's right.
Not sure, but we have like this huge thing that needs to be like drenched and dredged and everything needs to happen to it. And we have so much invasive species back there that have my maintenance guys follow the mitigation plan. I think it's like weed whack in June and then spray glyphosate in September.
no, they would go and rip it up and have the best time ever. So I'll
Awesome.
send that
Please
email instruction
introduce
saying,
us.
yeah,
Yes.
very exciting.
Yeah. Right. Is that,
Awesome. I think, yeah, unless anyone's got anything else, I mean, that's a real solid start.
it is. David,
Thank you so much
That was
for
a lot of-
coming.
a lot of
absolutely. I'm excited to be here and have these conversations. And I just, again, really appreciate anytime people can include our tenants in,
Sure.
citywide conversations.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm gonna leave you guys just a couple cards.
Please do.
Awesome.
Thank you. Do you only have two?
No, you guys want more?
Well, I think everyone wants one.
Yeah.
You get a card, you get a card. Everybody gets a card.
Thank you, Lindsay.
And also, and once again, I'm so glad that you are our liaison for this. And I can tell you're already doing a wonderful job. They're very lucky to have you.
Thank you. Well,
Great.
good thing I'm not the mayor because I get to go home and have dinner now. Thank you. Appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Bye, Lindsay.
All right. While we're in that agenda item, we were talking about, consideration within city initiatives and departments, and I know, Sophie, you had reached out to some of the other, departments, maybe just to give a quick update on our correspondence and discussions with anybody.
Yes, I think I forwarded everyone Diane's response to the questions
you
that I
did.
sent over. So that's really kind of all there is in terms of engineering's approach to things. I had reached out to Allison as well, and I had not heard back from her, but I kind of feel like if I haven't heard of certain things and Diane hasn't heard of certain things, it's probably because they're just not in the works
Right.
and it's just not going on. But it does sound like bike infrastructure is something that she's been working really closely with in their planning. I did also find, we had talked about a capital improvement plan. I did not find a capital improvement plan, but I did find a new city infrastructure improvement and a Main Street infrastructure improvement plan, as well as the full 2021 Honeywell energy audit. There's like multiple different documents. There's like the optimized investment grade audit, and then there's like three, and they're all like 200 pages, 2,000 pages long, but really, really long. So I kind of like skimmed through and tried to find the important stuff. I think the important stuff was already pulled out in the decarbonization roadmap from the Honeywell audits. And it was like boiler replacements for public safety and wastewater. Electric vehicles were not in the Honeywell plan. Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading through my really chopped up notes. Basically, I found the energy audit, the full energy audits, but I think all the important stuff was already taken out, and there was no capital improvement plan. It's just improvement plans for like certain projects that are going on. But if anyone had any like additional questions or things they wanted Diane to consider, I'd be happy to reach back out to her and let you guys know. I don't know if you had time to look through her responses.
That was from the engineer.
Yes.
Yeah. I looked at it. There's a little, I guess, thanks for my memory banks.
I did look at it. Now I don't know where.
Yeah, it was
Used for planning /
ago.
engineering.
Yeah. Separate biking, I don't have much to do with other items. It was on April 30th.
Okay.
Here is some future biking that is planned, designed, and then she listed some of the biking, but didn't have anything to do with it.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And does planning responded to you really at all? Not really.
I have not heard back. Allison said that she would be open to meeting, but obviously there's been a lot of like budget city council stuff that she
Well,
needed to be
yeah,
involved with, so
right.
it might not be
Busy
the
right now.
right time. But she said I can either provide written updates, but she did not have feeling, or she could come to the June EAC meeting. So she's open to coming. I just don't think that there's really anything.
That Diane is open to coming.
This is Allison, sorry, the
Sorry.
planning director.
Okay.
All Diane had to say was in the email that I forwarded everyone on Allison.
Right.
I could follow up with this.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't mind inviting her to come to the June meeting at the very least, just to introduce and like talk, so she can see if she's not familiar with some of the stuff that we're talking
Okay.
about, and then, just like
Yeah.
have that conversation about, how things might integrate into what her thought, or just hear from her kind of where things are headed and what they're thinking.
I can reach back out and give her the information for the 16th at 6 p.m. and see if she would be interested in. Because I do think it's a good contact to have for stuff that we want to do down the line. It would be planning. So.
Okay. Anything else related to climate action plan?
The only thing I have a question about is just, I did go through and look at, the climate action plan, and there are a lot of things that, the planning department is put down as being a part of. And I guess my question is just like, how are we going to make sure that the things that are in the climate action plan are addressed? Instead of just being, isn't it nice that we said we should do that?
Right. Well, I think that's part of inviting her to come, is to talk about like, hey, if plan exists, are you familiar with it, or how much are you referring to it? Like,
And not in a gotcha way, but
No,
just
definitely not.
so, here's the plan. How should we try to get this stuff addressed?
Right. Is there anything that, that we could do?
Yeah.
Or something that, we could be looking at or trying to help with,
Mhm.
time is taken on a lot of different things. So, yeah, is it, just to kind of establish the dialogue. I mean, it won't be the same thing as like, Lindsay's sitting here being like, we've got 12 grade.
I know. Well, because for example, M24 is specifically about protect, expand, and enhance conservation land and public lands to increase the capacity to sequester carbon. And now we're talking about selling that huge piece of property.
Yeah, but
Just saying.
it's not for development though. It's not like it's going to be turned into condos.
But we don't know. We don't
Well,
know.
no, it's restricted by agricultural and.
Right,
restricted
but
by
those things
lots of-
can be broken if you got to, if it can happen.
Fair
It has
enough.
happened.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
Just saying.
Again, it's not up to planning to, the disposition.
No,
of that
well,
property.
actually, they are listed. Planning got put on a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that for me have not been appropriate, but they were put on a lot.
Well, remember that, we were working, with, how much we have, I'm blanking on her name. Cassie.
Yeah, how quickly we forget.
Yeah, no, it just took me a second. Because Cassie was heavily involved in a lot of that, the climate action plan stuff, correct? And so, but she was in planning, like her seat
That's
was in
true.
planning
That's true.
department. So
Yeah.
it was a little different than
Yeah.
the way it's set up now. But I mean, if they should be involved. I mean, they should have their, because if they're the engine that's, driving a lot of the things that are happening with city government, then, they should hopefully be looking at it through that lens at all times.
And then the only other question I have is the urban forest. That's one of our areas, and you have students working on that.
My students have worked on it. The ball is now in Sophie's court.
Oh,
We're applying for, I'm going to aim to apply for a grant in, I think last year it was November. So hopefully it's around the same time this year for getting a full, I can't remember what Greg and I had decided on, if it was getting a tree inventory of the trees that we do
Okay,
have, or I
okay.
couldn't remember if it was that or like a mapping.
and so tell me again, when is the grant? When is it gonna happen?
Last year it was, beginning of November that the grant was due.
Okay.
And he said, hey, this is something I want to do, I think probably in like December. So I was like, great, it's probably going to be a year until we can
Okay,
like
great.
actually
Okay,
put the
that's great.
information in.
Okay.
But I'm using the materials from
Excellent.
the students.
That's fantastic. That's a huge gift.
We-
Thank you.
We're from academia. We're here to help.
And that's something that Bees is discussing from ongoing as well, right? So
Yeah, they
were
work.
canopy,
Yes,
tree
definitely.
cover and canopy.
Making
that's-
sure that they're not invasive is a big,
Right.
yeah. So it's absolutely on my radar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And something that our Greg is now officially the tree warden. He got his certification. And so
Okay.
he's interested in taking them
Okay,
on.
and then the only other question I have about that is that is it only going to be city trees or is it going to be all the trees? How does that work?
Our sphere of influence is over public trees only.
Right, but are we going to get the information about trees?
We actually don't.
I mean, the mapping that the students did is inclusive of city trees and non-city trees.
Okay, good.
So, yeah.
Because I'm thinking, like, just
And
the
then
other
urban forest
day,
might be
I
covered.
noticed a beautiful
Yeah.
tree had just been cut down. It's sort of in where I hang out. And there may have been a very legitimate reason for that, but, it would be nice to have to, I don't know, represent how important trees are to everybody, not just the city trees.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay, I'm happy now. Thank you. That's good.
So I think, again, just to wrap up the piece with planning, one of the things we'll want to do is just highlight what we think our priorities are. Like, we've been reviewing this. These are the things that, in the short to medium term, we think, we want to make sure the city is doing or looking at. And it's just the way to get that discussion going with them and see and hear from them what they're doing and what they're thinking
Yeah, great.
about. Great. All right. So let's continue our jumping around the agenda here and we'll move back to our public outreach events, which will bring us to our other guest.
Thanks for your
It's
patience.
already been useful and those who've been patient. Yeah, thank you for coming.
So I can't help it.
I thought you were here for Wednesday. I didn't realize.
Yeah, so why don't you- Can you introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. My name's Cindy and I'm from Shelburne Falls. I have many different hats. I've
Cindy, what's your last name?
banned FAND.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. I should know that.
It's on the agenda.
as well.
Okay.
So I've been doing energy efficiency work for a decade over and renewable energies. And I worked with Co-Power for a little while. I don't know if you know them at all. But I was involved with them early when they were doing solar hot water, solar electric. And they had a whole energy efficiency crew, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, fast forward to recently, I got asked by Shelburne Falls to be an energy advocate under the CFP grant, which you guys know about, right?
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, I'll jump back into the world. And I worked with Shelburne Falls. Now I'm part of the Shelburne Falls Energy Committee too, so I have that hat on too. So I really like hearing all the things that you guys are talking about. It's interesting to me because we have some more conversations about stuff. But why I'm here is I'm kind of asking. So I was going to continue on the CFP grant with Greenfield. Greenfield did not get it. Northampton and Easthampton, Westhampton got the CFP grant. But I applied for this educational grant through Eversource and National Grid. And what it is, it's basically money to educate people about the energy efficiency programs that they have. And so I didn't get the do the CFP program, but I had this educational grant money. So I'm looking to do events, and I had been a part of the energy fair that what was it?
The Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday event. I don't
Senior
know,
Center.
the Smith boat.
Smith Oak, okay.
It was fun. I got to meet Mother South Ryan and Ben and Gabi and some other players and people in the neighborhood. So that was really great. And so from there on out, I was thinking I'd love to do these energy tours. And do anybody know about NESE, New England Sustainable Energy Association? How they did these building pro energy tours? It was like 15 years ago. I remember going to some different houses that were just like spectacular. I did the GCC program, the Renewable Energy Efficiency Program. And so we were all going on these tours and it was just the best. I just loved being able to go and see people's houses, small businesses, multifamily, get to hear from the homeowner, get to hear from the expert, get to see, people's systems basically, and how each one is a little different. Like houses are like people, we're all just a little bit different and we all have a little bit of different issues going on. So I wanted to continue on with that kind of work. And so right now I've been working it's kind of transmute it into doing a lot of video work because there's some places that they don't want people to come into, but offer a great opportunity to see stuff. Like small businesses don't want people in their attics and basements for liability issues, I'm learning. So I'm putting together some, so it'll be an energy tour / video presentation / some money to be able to buy some food and make it like kind of a fun event. And so that's why I kind of come here today, ask if you kind of wanted to help me spread the word, try to find locations that people that would be interested in this.
So, yeah. So the events are showing the videos?
The events, okay, so for instance, I'm working with Bombex and they have done some energy efficiency work and I'm working with their contractor and they're going to be doing some more work. So they don't want people in their attic or maybe they'll let people in certain areas. Maybe you see their attic because there's part of their attic they can go see, but the other part they can't. Anyways, it becomes always complicated. But we could be in the main room and I could share a presentation about the work and what, people seeing it being done, holes getting cut out and then being, people are always worried about holes being cut out in the side of their house or whatever, and the work that they do to make it look nice. And these kinds of little things just, seeing is believing. I'm a big visual person and having other people see other people have good experiences. Because we were at the senior center today talking to people and, there's a lot of people out there who've had really bad experiences with Mass Safe, unfortunately. And they haven't had an audit in what did she say, like 20 years?
It was really bad.
Maybe it's time to try again.
But they're reluctant to want to do it again after that.
So I just put this together because I just wanted to try to give you something so you can take a look at it and go through book. And there's an email address. I hope to have a website up soon. Well, at least a start to a website.
Thank you.
And you already have that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm working on a website, getenergysmartma.com. .org. Sorry. And I'm excited because that's going to be a lot of these videos and presentations on a web page. And then also that would be the hub to share new events of what's going on. Maybe add some, different kinds of different resources, grants, incentives, small business, multifamily, different sizes of multifamily and single family, and try to help people navigate, in some way. Because you always wish, I wish there was a website for this. I wish there was a way that we can just focus on this area, Northampton, Easthampton, Westhampton, and offer like something super local, like a local flavor of, hey, I know that person, that kind of experience, or that's happening around the corner from me. Maybe I should go check it out.
Sounds like a great idea.
So anyways, I'm working on it and I'm hoping this summer, I have a lot of different irons in the fire with different contracting companies. I would like more people to come to me rather than companies because it could be somewhat, it does work to their advantage because it's a marketing opportunity for them. But it might seem a little biased, like a little salesy. So I think it'd be great to come from like the city and energy committee and people that are on the ground trying to help other people in their community. So, any questions?
So what you are looking for is people who would like to share their experience.
Yeah, I'm looking for locations right
electrifying.
now, and then eventually I'll be looking for, to spread the word about attending the events and things like that. So, and I'm hoping to do the events in the fall when people are thinking about heating again, and when people are back from summer breaks. And
To integrate this in some sort of another thing, but under our different programs. So like community person and electrify. Who's overseeing those at the moment?
With Hanagon?
Yeah.
Me.
Okay. And so you're responsible for, again, sort of some of those mandates of like, or one of their mandates, but like trying to get
people signed up.
Yeah, people signed up
Yep.
having so many events.
Yep.
and
Yeah.
whatever.
I was
Okay.
going to be working hand in hand with Hannah.
Right.
But now.
Right. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, like how much,
There's gonna be a lot of partnerships.
Yes.
So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because, yeah, I mean, you know, you're a little wary of working with specific contractors or working too much maybe, but like, you know, under our Electrify program, that's like specifically with Revise,
Right.
for instance. So we're doing something under the guise of that means you don't have to worry so much about the fact that it's a specific contractor because
Mhm.
they're the chosen ones that can do
Yeah.
that and provide those extra
Right,
rebates.
isn't that kind of
Essentially,
I'm in
right.
contact with, Calvin at Revise.
Okay.
Trying to make that happen too.
Yeah, and again, because you know locally here we have those extra incentives that are available to people on top of the state level.
Yeah, she told me about that today.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, so that's like something that we really want people to take advantage of, because yeah, that money's just kind of sitting there and could be
So
going.
that's an even better reason to get more people interested in
Right.
talking about this. And
Yeah, exactly, and it's
Yeah.
Northampton.
there's a connector too, you know, people are gonna be meeting other community people and also other experts and being able to ask questions and get that one-on-one with people that you're not, paying for.
So all the time with him, and I was told that there's supplemental conversation. That's not true. That's not true. No.
Who told you that?
Let's not.
Okay, that's an offline conversation. Okay, so appreciate coming and like letting us know what you're doing.
Sure.
And I guess is, yeah, if we can, certainly make referrals to you if we know of people who are interested, if
Yeah.
anybody here in Hampton has some ideas about good potential locations or
Yeah.
things that are good showpieces for energy efficiency.
Who said there was mold in her? Yeah, don't go there.
You're going on to the-
For the people that are
Yeah,
having
and
good
if we,
experience.
and if we do single family, I'm thinking try to couple, a bunch of them in
Nearby.
possibly in an area. I feel like when you can go from one house to another, it's kind of this, you're not gonna lose people, but if you're driving, you might lose a lot of people.
Right, right.
And I'm thinking about having a different event for different categories, it's different demographics. So you have your landlords, you have and maybe possibly even have the renters there, but that might be a separate thing.
Mhm.
Everything kind of feels like it gets more divided as you go, but
Yeah.
single family people are one, and small businesses. I'm working with some really great people at Eversource who do the small business program, and
Okay.
I'm working with the Northampton Chamber of Commerce, which is a great partnership because they're already trying to help other small businesses. So,
Mhm.
and they're going to be like the shining example of all this energy efficiency work that they've done. So,
Okay. And something else that kind of dovetails with that is we talked about the Bees Committee, or you may not have heard.
what is beef?
Bees Committee, biodiversity, energy, or no, biodiversity, ecological.
Biodiversity, environment, and ecological sustainability.
Wow, that's not bad.
I
Yeah.
think they started with the acronym and then worked
I guess
backwards.
so, yeah. But it's basically, it's our local city committee that advocates for pollinators, native plants, and those sorts of things. And so the reason I bring it up is because did that garden tour like actually happen last year? Was that like the?
Yes, I was in a
down?
garden.
Okay. When it rained.
And then we all ended when the thunder and lightning
Right.
started.
The art one, yeah.
Yeah, the artwork. So anyway, it's to your point about trying to do sort of a tour sort of thing. There was like an idea of like showing people, and then we'd talk more about that too, like helping people get ideas about what they can do, you know, in their yard, like outside their homes. You're just talking about doing it on the inside.
Yeah.
But there's, potential crossover there with like, a dual purpose sort of thing, you're just like, okay, well, I can't find a cluster of good energy homes, but I've got, two of them here, and I've got a couple of cool like pollinator gardens to look at the same time. So maybe we could do,
Yeah.
something that like.
Even
hits
if
all
you don't
those.
go inside of people's homes, sometimes it's worth just to see their house from the outside and have them talking.
Right.
I mean, sometimes that's really nice to see that, it doesn't have to be so invasive with people in their house. Obviously, it's nice to be able to have a tour.
Right.
I know Greenfield had a lot of like home meetings where they would talk about their,
Right.
have everybody in their home.
Right.
And,
Tupperware party for energy
Yes,
efficiency.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, anything else that you'd like us to, pass things on
I
to you?
guess no, I'm just really excited about it. Just one thing to add, I have my small business, partner at Eversource has this mobile unit, which is kind of a cool idea, where they could be like outside of a building where we'd be doing the event. And what the unit is like showing, different types of insulation, and has the actual different kinds of wall assemblies, different ceiling assemblies, solar, hot water, all the different like little gadgetries, so that people can like see hands-on stuff.
Okay,
Which is cool because a lot of this stuff is like you can't see in the wall, so
right.
it's a little difficult to communicate that.
How big is that truck or whatever?
It's like a parking lot size, I think she said.
A whole parking lot?
Oh yeah, it's big. It has to be like towed by like,
Oh my God.
It's like a semi-trailer.
semi, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was gonna say.
So it's available as of now, but I'm like, I gotta book it before people find out about it.
Right. Well, I'm wondering, because the other thing on the public outreach that we have right now is June 14th, every Sunday, this farmer's market out
Yeah,
here.
she
in the
was
parking
telling me
lot.
a little bit.
And we have a table out there. I mean, they could probably accommodate that if with enough planning.
We're not
They
planning.
take it up, I mean, the farmer's market takes up a good chunk of this, but there's still some space in the back maybe, or depending on how big it really truly is, but,
That would be
Is
so
that's
cool.
free to access? Like they will
We
bring it to you?
can, all we have to do, I know exactly the person, just call, make a date.
so maybe not the farmer's market, maybe that becomes its like own thing.
Sure.
and on
So we should
another day or
definitely-
I mean, I
something
think the
before.
farmer's market would be cool because people aren't necessarily expecting it, but
Right.
they're kind of curious, and it's a way to catch people who aren't like the green people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you get a certain audience, and when you're in different places, you can get, fun ones.
For sure.
Different people.
Okay, well, yeah, June 14th is when we're
Okay.
committed to table there.
What are the hours? Everybody know?
I do.
9 to 1.
I have it on my calendar as 9 to 3.
Thank you.
That might be though, it's like, it might be that it starts at 10 and ends at 2, and I
Right,
it
they're
on my
separate
calendar,
setups,
it's
right,
set up in the
right.
breakdown,
Yeah,
yeah, 10 to
10 to
2.
2.
So I have it on my calendar as 9 to 3, but it probably was.
Yeah, Sunday 10 to 2.
Well, yeah, I can stay in touch with Sophie about.
Yeah, so if you wanted to inquire, like if it would be available that day, and then if it is, like.
Okay.
2 weeks notice for people to move parked municipal vehicles. and-
Right.
So there is possibly room, but not yet.
I don't know.
It makes me nervous.
Yeah.
It makes me nervous.
We need to know the dimensions of it.
Yeah.
Here?
What's
Like
that?
the
It's literally in the parking lot, like right here.
Would it point to- I didn't know.
Would it fit in the parking spaces at the entrance to this building? That there's like a parking lot in the
Right.
entrance, and there's
Mhm.
one.
Or you could
behind
like
it.
fit it like on the street parking, like right here on like side of the street.
I can actually give you
Because the
exact
farmer's market
dimensions
only
of
doesn't.
it.
It's on the other side. It's of the parking lot, isn't it?
Right.
So if it would, like when we did the electric vehicles.
Right, when you're talking about over there, yeah.
We took that space
Right.
and we marked it off, and we put up a couple of horse things. And
Sophie's still worried about this parking lot size.
I'm worried about the
well, how big is it?
Like
That's the
10, like
question.
10 by 20, I would say.
10 feet by 20 feet? Okay,
That
that's
would fit there.
not so.
It's not as big as I thought.
Yeah.
But I can give you exact answer that. It's in my email somewhere. It's like-
Okay. So yeah, that's a reasonable size. That'll take up a couple parking spots, but like you can fit that.
Well, the thing that's nice about that area too is there aren't any city cars ever
Right.
parked there. And
Right.
it's a Sunday.
Right.
So-
Are you taking parking spots away from the farmer's market though? Are they gonna be upset about
I'm
that?
wondering if we've committed to a community table, if they
Right.
would probably not be thrilled about a community table and a community semi truck.
It might be a better option for another event that's.
I agree.
that's a little-
Or
it's a little-
if we could be allowed to put it on the street.
Yeah.
Like on Williston.
Right.
That might be a
Yes, I love that.
Why?
Because I feel like my boss would be like, that's maybe just too much for the street. Because then do you have to block off? Is it a police? Is it like a traffic
Oh,
flow issue?
there's-
You have
that's
to
a
block off
question.
air. It's like, it becomes,
Oh, isn't
it
it
is very
nice?
cool. It's very
Oh,
cool.
nice.
That is really nice.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
that-
awesome.
Yeah.
Kiosk.
I'm nervous about it in the street.
It
There's
might
like
be
a-
big for the street.
Right? I feel like if we had the parking lot would be totally fine if we had a
Right.
designated, this is gonna be in the parking lot that day and we're gonna do the thing.
Like just another day. Yeah.
Energy fair day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or there's that event that happened in Nantucket Park in the fall.
The Harvest
the
Festival.
Harvest Festival.
Oh, yeah. I'm also thinking this is probably not, I'm just thinking about other city things that happen, and Art Walk is a thing. Could that be considered
Art-
like we have a stop in the municipal parking lot during Art Walk where people are already out and about going from spot to spot, stop at the,
We'd have to ask them if they would.
yes, but I mean, I know
How they
Pascalina, I
feel
would,
about that.
I don't feel like Pascalina would necessarily be anti putting
Yeah.
us on the,
But
You know what I mean?
some,
I don't know.
like children's drawings,
Sure.
like TV around the mobile unit, and there you go.
Yeah, when Art Walks are what, on Fridays? When are the day of the week?
Friday or
Like
Saturday.
Friday, so-
I don't know, maybe it's not the
I
time
used
that
to
people are
know
wanting to
that.
think about insulation.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
think
thinking of
it's-
like another citywide event that like people are already at.
Yeah,
And obviously cultural chaos is not gonna be one anymore,
Right.
so.
right.
Yeah.
Well, the other one that I was gonna bring this up because, we're gonna be at the farmer's market, but I did just get an email from the mayor about this other series of events now.
That's right.
Millside,
That's what I was
which is
wondering.
all of these World Cup watch parties / music events.
I thought that they were not gonna use Millside for.
It's also the conversion.
Well, I don't, yeah, maybe it's happening after this. Yeah, to see where, uh, it says,
So some official thing or just what?
so it's at Millside Park. Live music, artisan marketplace, World Cup watch party, economic development.
Is that on the website?
No, this was sent to me via my participation in the soccer board,
Oh,
because they're looking for partners and volunteers
yeah,
and things like
soccer.
that, so, yeah.
Would it be okay if you sent that to us, or do you think that's like private information?
He was talking about the schedule at
Yeah.
the bike with the mayor event. So
Yeah,
I don't
no,
think
it's
it's super
not-
top secret.
Right. Yeah, and there's 5 different dates that they're doing. They're all like Friday, well, 2 Fridays, 2 Saturdays, and a Monday.
In what,
In
throughout the
June.
summer, in June, okay,
Between June 19th to the 29th.
I see, okay. Oh, wow,
Yeah,
that's a short period of time.
yeah. But they are expecting, there's estimated attendance with these, which is anywhere from like 1,000 to 3,000 for each event.
Holy cow.
That's a lot of people.
Potentially. Well, there's gonna be, big screens, and we like putting soccer games on, and there's gonna be vendors and food trucks, breweries, things like that. So it's kind of like a big food truck Friday / what have you. So again, Cindy, I don't know what the possibility of getting that, something like that, like installed, it's one of those events there. There's a lot of parking space, or there's.
What's the date of that? You said?
It's 5 dates between June 19th and the 29th.
Okay,
They're mostly the Fridays and Saturdays, but then also Monday, the 29th.
okay. And is there a place online I can find out more about that event?
I don't, there may have basic information up. I don't know if they promoted it on the city website.
They were waiting to tie down the FIFA contract
Yeah.
details
Oh, right,
before
yeah.
they could publicize the
Okay.
dates, like in a formal fashion, was my
Yeah.
understanding.
Does the city have to pay for that?
I
Imagine
believe the
there's-
mayor's commitment is that this is not gonna show up on the city's books.
This-
This
Because
is
it's
what-
it's a grant.
It's at the very big top that says that, yes, well, $0 from the general fund. Funded entirely by state grants and private sponsorships, in-kind donations, and earned vendor revenue.
Good.
So,
Cool.
I will ask and get back to you.
okay, yeah, so anyway, just throwing, so I wasn't sure, again, if it might make sense for, obviously on the soccer world, that's one thing, but like, if that might be everything where we would want to, again, try to have like, table or set up something, or, again, it's an energy efficiency outreach opportunity for mass save or for what have you, community first, so maybe worth, and obviously you're a city employee, so it might be a little easier for you to get to go ahead to do something like that. If we thought it was worthwhile, like maybe one of those
I don't think
Saturdays.
it's on the city website.
Yeah, I don't know that it
I see it.
is quite good.
Month of weather is tight.
Yep. But yeah, so June 20th and the 27th are the 2 Saturdays.
June
And it looks
20th.
like they're gonna be, yeah. The second Saturday is just music, not a soccer game. It's only music starting at 5. First Saturday starts at 1 p.m. and then there's music at 5 p.m. So it's like a longer day. That will be, right after our next meeting. So if there wasn't, if we had, there was an opportunity, we could potentially spend some time at the next meeting talking about a quick deployment of something for that day or what have you.
Okay, I'll check it out.
All right.
Cindy, do we have the contact information?
You can use that email on there and then,
Yeah.
Sophie has
So
my
I have it now.
contact.
Okay. Anything else under public outreach upcoming that we want to discuss? All right.
Yeah, I'll just second that. I think that it would be great if at least one of those Marist events, there could be like a little table, because I think that, word has just, especially about this, like there's these incentives and now they're opened up to everybody. So
Yeah.
even people who like knew about them a couple of months ago now do not know that some of their friends may be eligible.
Mhm.
That would be really great.
So
And I would personally like to see the other social programs.
I would
Yes.
like to.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen it
Yeah.
either.
Okay, continue jumping around here. We got just a couple more things to go through. The legislative policy updates. I did try to do a quick search last week. I was updating the agenda on the status of the House 5151. I know there was some Senate activity around it that was sort of at odds, but
Yes.
you guys want to give us the lowdown?
Well, I mean, broadly speaking, there seems to be emerging the kind of difference people anticipated between the House and the Senate versions.
Yeah.
In fact, was it today that the Globe read? I was just reading an article earlier this morning. I
I
don't know if it was the
have not
Globe.
been reading the Globe
There
this
was
week.
something
Yeah.
that kind of spelled it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But the Senate hasn't officially come out. And it's around, of course, the mass save piece.
Mhm.
And it's also around the, what's the acronym for the
Oh, the gas
the
system.
gas, the gas system.
G7.
There's a G,
Yeah.
whatever that is. So, it's gonna be hashed out. I mean, our part, I think that we talked a little bit about, some other pieces last time, the climate bank.
Mhm.
We talked a little bit about, that now. Well, there are two things on that. On the Senate side, there's ways and means that still has to come out. It was not added, is not added into the governor's bond bill on the House side, House Ways and Means side. That was an attempt, but it still stands as the legislation is still before the legislature. It hasn't been reported out on either side. So there is that piece. You had mentioned earlier, Alex, about the housing is, has a separate component. I don't think that's.
No, that passed it.
Yeah, right, but it's like the money's whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an important piece. It's still, I think,
Mhm.
we talked about weighing it on that, and then soon I think the Senate will report on. I will only just say from myself, among the climate community that I kind of work with, that there's probably going to be a very strong favoring of the Senate side of this.
Mhm.
The last few sessions have gone that way, where the Senate has, pushed a little further out than the House has, which is not atypical. But I do think that we might want to weigh in a little bit. I mean, the obviousness is that we need all forms of capital here. And that's why the climate bank was an important piece. And that's why with this 5152 ultimately comes to, I think, a sense that we really cannot step back is thematically. And I think as an energy advisory committee, I think we have to be on the forefront a little bit about that. So I'm open to thought about, well, as a starter, should we, as a practice, just kind of have a legislative meeting, with our, I'm gonna say our delegation, we have one state rep and one state senator. But, and our state senator is kind of still on.
I think
He's
coming
back.
He's coming back.
I
Well,
thought he
don't
was
think-
then.
Is he back? Yeah, because I've been getting stuff from his office. He had. All right.
There was something in the
If it's happened,
Gazette or
it's
something
just-
where he was
it
happy to
would've-
be back.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just happened because he
Yeah.
wasn't, there was a bunch of things. So I'm happy to help set that up. I don't know if that has to go through you, Sophie, or whatever.
Oh, for like meeting with Omar and.
Yeah, because I think
Oh, I
this
don't
is the
think that
time
would-
before we get too deep into the, where they just have to focus.
So are you thinking like our next meeting? We would ask them
Yes,
to come?
by our next meeting.
Yeah.
We might have to have it separately based on their thing, but I would like to pull us together with our, and it's a good practice. I
Yeah,
think that we ought to be doing that on a periodic basis.
I'm
So,
down with it. We can always throw an extra meeting on the
Yeah,
calendar.
yeah,
if
that'd be
need
great.
if we can
I'm
get,
happy to-
three of us
to
there.
get
or
right
even
on it
Do
and-
it as a more informal.
yeah, and get, and we do it remote, we can do it easy,
Yeah.
remotely, whatever. Just get some dates from them and throw it back to committee
Yeah,
members.
great. That would be
We can get
wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I just need 48 hours for an agenda submittal, so if it's gonna be an official thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the end of the semester, so my energy has been elsewhere, but my expectation is that like sometime, just for them to sort of start to, the Senate has to report by the end of June so that they can appoint conferees and have the conference started before end of session in July, which allows them to carry the bill through the rest of the year.
Okay.
So if you're like, okay, report end of June, that means they have to pass it by end of June through the chamber, which means they have to pass it out of Ways and Means, before that, which means it has to pass out of TUE the week before that. So like, he's going to have to get a bill out in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think it is the case that like, by the time of our next meeting, we should have there should be effectively a side by side of
Okay.
the two proposals. And there's a ton of stuff that has committee priorities sort of tied up in it. I think Sophie, you were maybe on the call with the multi-town gas leak
Yes.
initiative thing that I circulated. So
Mhm.
there's a couple of pieces of legislation that would require utilities to more actively share data with
Less than once a year, more than once a year.
right, with municipalities, instead of the current dynamic, which is a little bit of like, they were in just a really enraging example on the call of Wellesley just built a totally fossil fuel free school.
Mhm.
It's on a dead end street.
Mhm.
There are 3 houses on the
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
And they had just ripped up the street, repave it for the new school. And now there's like a repair ban on the street, and they're like trying to get the 3 users on the street on the heat pumps so that they don't have to do the gas.
Yeah.
But they're gonna do a gas line repair on a recently repaved street on a street that's got 3 houses, and the biggest user of gas on the old pipeline is now no longer using gas. Like the whole thing just is like a
Yeah.
tremendous waste of ratepayer dollars. So, anyway, so getting to this point where like Easthampton would have visibility and the ability to have a conversation with the utility about, hey, maybe there's some spots here that we don't like. You think you want to do a gas pipe replacement, but
Mhm.
might actually be cheaper for you to actually, and the state regulatory environment has to shift
Get
where
them
it's
on
like,
gas.
right, you should be paying for these people to get heat pumps, not paying for the repair. So anyway, there's just a lot of stuff to do, and I think it'll be very timely in the month.
Mhm.
So
I'll just share that I found the thing that I had seen, which is what the Senate was considering or is being pushed towards, which is this distributed energy resources peak reduction standard, which I'll just say would require investor-owned utilities to meet specific capacity targets by dispatching customer-sited solar and storage, which could theoretically mean more stable market for storage and VPPs and things like that. So, obviously that would be something that, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but something that I think we would support, something in that direction, unless there's something about it that I'm overlooking. For the distributed energy first approach to grid planning, which again could theoretically, cheapen peak load issues and get us off of peaker plants and that sort of thing.
Is that an email that you read? What do you?
No, I am reading an article from PV Magazine. That I will-
Would you just send me the link?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, we'll cite our citation or cite our citations in the minutes. So anyway, yeah, I had seen that when I was searching for stuff but okay, so Steve, you're gonna
Yes,
help
I'll do
on
that.
getting something, so either hopefully Nick, June 16th is our next meeting, if they can pop in for a few minutes there.
Well, I would
That'd be
say,
ideal.
I would say two things. One, certainly by that as a target date,
Mhm.
by our next meeting,
Okay.
if we incorporate it. But if it happens that it's, we
Something
can't do
sooner.
that, something sooner comes up.
Because that might be late.
It might be, that's what
Okay,
I'm saying.
so yeah, sooner is fine. Again, I just need,
Okay,
I need
okay.
a little bit, if it's gonna be an official meeting. Number one, we just need to make sure we can have at least 3 of us there for quorum, and number two, I need 48 hours to be able
Yeah,
to
I
generate
got it.
and submit an agenda
Yep.
for public record purposes.
Trying to find that thing I
We
read
may-
today.
So anyway,
It's an interview with Barry. That's what sparked this something. Yeah, I'll try to find it.
okay.
People, I've been forwarding stuff periodically. Is it like?
I want to ask you about one of the things you forwarded, but I don't have to do it during the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, no, again, I mean, I think general informational stuff is fine to share, as long as there's no deliberation.
Yeah, it's not that.
Right. Okay, so let's talk, well, we've touched on the efficiency program. Sophie updated us that you're kind of in charge of this for the time being. And given the state of things, I imagine it's not a rush to hire somebody else for that. or-
Not as of right now. The guidance I've been given is like kind of wait till budget stuff is a little bit more secure and then
Yeah.
we'll hopefully be able to move forward in July.
Okay,
I do have a couple of updates if you're interested about some of the movement on the electrified program. I got an email yesterday from our rep over at Revise. We were supposed to meet remotely and they had to cancel. But he let us know that they have 2 heat pump installs that they've done that have qualified for the updated electrify, which is
Yeah.
great. And then they have 2 more in the pipeline that they'll have done by the end of the month.
Yeah.
So it went from 0 to 4 relatively quickly.
yeah,
And once those funds are exhausted, that program will be done. So
Okay.
definitely, hopefully by our target date.
wait, to say that again now, once the exhaust,
Once of the money from the electrify from the settlement is
Right.
gone, that program is done. We'll
Right.
still have community first mass save stuff, but
Right,
will be
right.
additional. Yeah, so,
right, but there's still quite a bit of money.
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess that's, so yeah,
But I think I have the number somewhere. I think it's like they want the deployment of 100. I'm forgetting the exact number, but they have a target and we're moving towards that.
right. Yeah, and I have a proposal for that, but I have questions and concerns about it. Separate. offline conversation.
Exactly.
Okay, anything else to update on this?
The last thing I'll say, I had a meeting with a resident. I've been Hannah this week, especially for whatever reason. I had a meeting with a resident, got them signed up for a home energy assessment, had a fantastic meeting with them. I'm gonna follow up. And so it's helpful for me to kind of like have these one-on-one conversations. I feel like I'm able to like understand people's issues and questions and desires, and then be able to be more on, hands-on with the residents than I was when I was overseeing Hannah. And then today we were at the Northampton Health and Safety Fair. We got a couple people signed up. So I feel like the program it's still moving. We're still being visible and we're still providing support to the best of my ability, even without formal energy advocate training. So I just want everyone to know that like it still is a priority and we're still meeting the benchmarks that we need to be meeting.
Thank you.
Without the energy taking. Yeah, no, of course. Hannah set a high bar though, so it's definitely like
Yeah,
definitely not living up to that, but
well, you have a full-time job.
right. Oh yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Sophie, for that. We're pushing the 2-hour mark here. I'll be mindful of people's time, but aggregation is on here and we do have an update, which is that Good Energy came back, reached out to the mayor's office, and Sophie was copied on that at the very least, about, I think, re-engaging contractually with several suppliers, just sort of getting the early stage things in place. I didn't see any pricing or anything like that. I don't know if it was quite at that stage, but it's sort of like reauthorizing them to go to the suppliers and start to engage in negotiation or to get updated things. So They wanted to set up a meeting with the mayor's office. Sophie, why don't you, I don't have it in front of me, maybe, are you looking at it now?
I am looking at it now, or I'm trying to find it. And I also, since I wasn't really a part of municipal aggregation when it was kind of in its
Right.
the words I'm coming to.
Infancy.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. I don't have a ton of understanding of how much I need to be involved in that versus the mayor's office versus the
Right.
committee. Like, where do I kind of fit in this? And is it really just me pushing the mayor to make the bigger decisions, or is there like an administrative role that I should be playing that I'm not?
Right. No, I don't, I think, no, shouldn't worry about it too much. So, okay, so this is what they read, what they wrote. We're reaching out to schedule the pre-bid and bid day meetings for electricity, Easthampton Community Electricity, which is our aggregation program, and share the electrical service agreements for your review. So they asked for city's availability for a pre-bid meeting potentially on June 19th or 22nd, and a bid day meeting on June 23rd or 24th. So this does appear that they think that there may be some favorable-ish pricing in the offing, to the point that we want to, potentially have get some bids in. And now having a bid day meeting again does not mean that we accept what's on offer, but it does mean that we collect bids and review them. So they attached electric service agreements from two suppliers right now, suppliers that they've used before, and they're looking for the city's review and approval by Friday, June 5th. It's basically pro forma stuff that they do. The city has the right to request revisions to it, but they basically say, this is stuff that we've reviewed and approved and used all over the place. We don't really expect you to make any changes to it, or we don't want you to make any changes to it. But if you'd like to do that, you can, or offer those, you can. Good Energy views these ESAs as near final documents, but we want to tailor them to your municipality if needed. So with your approval of these and the event of a successful bid on bid day, we will need to do, all we will need to do apart from community specific information is populate the term length, the price, commission fee, and the amount of recs. So if there is, so that's, a month away. So we potentially.
And so is the mayor,
I don't know if the mayor responded to this. Sophie had to forward it to me because I was not included on the original, and this just came in on Monday.
Yeah,
because this is all new to the
response. It's new to the mayor, so I kind of want to be able to say, here's what we need from you, but I also don't really know.
So, okay, yeah, so this is why, and you asked me, do we need to do anything, or can we discuss it on Wednesday? I said, let's just wait and discuss it on Wednesday. Yeah, I think, they wanted June 5th was when they want the review and approval. That's a couple of weeks away, and obviously we got a holiday weekend in here.
Yes.
So if you could touch base with the mayor's office, and see, did they see this? Do they have questions? We haven't had them here to talk about aggregation. I know, Salem has been on the city council prior, so he's at least tangentially familiar with, having approved it and that sort of thing, but may not have internally. I don't know what they know. So I'm happy to have them, a sit down with them to just sort of discuss where we're at and what we've gone through and like what this means. And then, that way, next week, I guess, ideally, if possible. So then there's still like a week plus for any review. Or if they feel like they need to get the city solicitor involved in reviewing anything, you can let them know that. I mean, I think we had ESAs approved previously with the, by Good Energy, or I can talk to them about that. Because we've gone through this process before. We thought we were going to have a bid day. We got bids and we didn't like them.
Got it. Okay.
So, so we chose to hold off because there's been a lot of volatility.
So the June 5th deadline is for the approval of the documents that they sent over already.
Correct.
And then it would be from their scheduling.
The pre-bid meeting and then the bid day meeting for those days they suggested. So, again, I don't think they probably need an hour for each of those, maybe. The bid day meeting maybe a little bit longer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you being here. Nice to meet you. See you around. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, so let the mayor's office know, and we again, happy to consult with
Okay.
them, to talk through like, where we're at. If they have questions, Good Energy will certainly be happy to get on the phone or to do a call with them to talk through anything. It should be relatively straightforward,
Okay.
again, to just review and say, yeah, we're good.
Yep.
And then it's just a matter of getting the meetings on the calendar, and I would be happy to be at the meetings, I assume.
That would be super helpful for me,
Yeah,
and I think the mayor's office would appreciate it as well. So I'll make sure that you're CC'd on the correspondence back to the mayor's office and Good Energy, so they know
Okay.
that you should be looped in.
Yeah,
as
I don't know
well.
why they didn't copy me originally, that's all
I
right.
didn't either. That's why I was like, come send this right
Yeah.
over to Jamie.
And then, so the pre-bid meetings, they were asking for the 19th or the 22nd.
Yep.
19th is a Friday, so the offices are closed.
Yeah, it's a holiday.
It's
Is
not
it?
ideal.
State
Yeah,
holiday.
yeah, Juneteenth.
It's a state holiday.
Oh, it is
Yep.
Juneteenth, you're correct. Yeah.
And city offices are closed anyway.
It's the
so I don't
offices
know
are
why they
closed
would.
anyway, so. Yeah, so I would say the 22nd would probably be
Okay.
the better option there, and then, one of the next 2 days for
Okay.
the bid meeting. As of now, I don't have any major conflicts.
And when those first bids came through, how did the EAC engage with them?
Well,
Like, I'm happy to have you, run point on this stuff, but I'm wondering, like, does the whole committee read the service agreements? Do we look at the numbers? You're
Yeah.
a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer.
Good question. I mean, we can certainly see, we could invite more of us to be there for bid day and things like that. People are interested, yeah, we can ask about that. I think in the past, it was mostly just me, and then, the mayor's office was more actively, involved at that point. 'Cause
Yeah.
they've been, going through it, but, yeah, if people are interested to see stuff and to be part of the
Yeah.
process, I'm happy to have those extra sets of eyes. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing more meetings where it's not useful. I got plenty of those in my day job, but I think I am curious. I'm definitely very curious to see where the bids come in. And
Yeah,
just, I haven't seen the nitty gritty of this process
Mhm.
before, so,
right. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, if people, if we get availability from the mayor, I can
Yes.
pass along like
Yeah.
what dates and times are looking like. I mean,
Yeah.
You've heard.
Yeah, right. I mean, the important thing is that the mayor has the meetings and we keep this moving and seize the opportunity if there's a
Right.
chance to deliver.
In the
Great
past, I mean,
savings to-
Good Energy is, we put our trust in. We put our trust in them because they do this a lot.
Yeah.
They've got it on lockdown. in
Yeah.
the sense that, they do it all over, the state and Rhode Island and elsewhere. So, if they think it's a good idea, tend to think that that's probably the right way to go. And when they've said, hey, no, it's time to hold off, it's like they understand the marketplace.
So the last bids they came in and said, basically, like, here's the bids, but I wouldn't if I were you, kind of thing.
Basically,
Yeah.
because they weren't even beating the Eversource base rate currently, it's like, and
That's-
they're like, and we're in this part of the cycle where the rate's gonna go,
Yeah.
now and then Daisy happened, and they got the update from last time, where it's like, now it's having this real big effect, and now there's been like a full year of Daisy, so the data is probably, a little more easy to project out. We've already seen what's happened to electric prices, everyone's like, so, certainly, never been happier when I got my solar installed. Seeing what's going on with that. So it's going to be the type of thing. It's sort of like, is there any world in which electricity prices are going to fall from where they are now?
Yeah.
Sure, there's a possibility, but is it likely, given everything that we know? And so if we can lock in something that's good now for 2-3 years, whatever companies are willing to do, and have it benefit the entire city.
Yeah, that's a big win.
It is a win. It's a win for the mayor as well.
I'll follow up with them tomorrow, like without Good Energy, just to say, hey, this is what this means. And then
Yeah.
win on that, and then hopefully they'll get back to us on that.
Okay. Yeah. Again, happy to take a half an hour to chat through. All right. So that's the or the aggregation update. So good news. I hope. We'll see. We talked through green communities, climate leader community stuff briefly.
I don't have any updates.
Yeah. Now working with housing authority maybe opens up some new avenues for some interesting
Yes,
opportunities
absolutely.
for grants and
Yeah.
things. So keep that going. And then our business recognition program.
Also no updates.
Also no updates.
It exists.
Sort of. This is
I think I was gonna reach back to the mayor's office after the new fiscal year to present it when hopefully he has some more time to think about things that aren't the budget. and saying
Yeah,
this is
I
what
know,
we-
right?
yeah,
We,
yeah,
on
yeah.
top of all this, right, we've got
It's not the
a
time.
June 9th vote coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Implications for a lot of things, so. Yeah, so I know, again, aggregation, maybe not the first thing on their mind, but
I know, but
again,
it's- I mean,
but it
it's
is an
fine.
economic win.
Absolutely, yeah.
At a time
And
when
it's the time
those are
it's-
hard to come by. So, all right, so we'll table the recognition program for, it certainly falls to the wayside compared to some of the other things that are going on. Anyone have anything else that we have not already discussed today? All right, doing that then,
I move we adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Seconded, all in favor?
Ah.
Aye.
And our local cable subscribers.